For centuries, beauty standards divided our unique differences. If you didn't fit what you saw in the magazines you read or advertisements you saw, then seeing yourself as beautiful could be challenging. But then came the launch of Rihanna's Fenty Beauty, which revolutionized the cosmetics industry. Offering 40 foundation shades, it was bold. It was a statement. Rihanna's commitment to inclusion practices recognizes that diversity also drives profitability. In its first 15 months, Fenty Beauty generated a staggering $570 million in revenue, reflecting a broader consumer interest in products that acknowledge diversity. This inclusive approach, showcased through models of various different ethnicities, has Rihanna representing the new generation of beauty. With the Fenty effect, we've seemingly moved beyond viewing beauty through a single lens. This change is evident when I walk into stores like Sephora. In these environments, I'm greeted by the faces of women of color, celebrities of color, like Lupita Nyong'o for Lancome and Padma Lakshmi for MAC. As a young woman of color, seeing these women can feel incredibly empowering. But before we celebrate too soon, let me share a story that might hit close to home for some of us. Meet Gloria George, a Texas-based beauty influencer. In April, she tried Euphoria's darkest foundation shade from their date night collection, supposedly catered for darker-skinned individuals. What she found was shocking. The foundation was so dark, lacking appropriate undertones, that it resembled black face paint, like tar in a bottle. She commented it was a really weird, surreal, out-of-this-world experience. So if the Fenty effect is pushing companies towards diversity, why do makeup lines continue to misrepresent people of color? The truth is, diversity is often exploited, as it can be a quick ticket to capital. The result? The needs of marginalized consumers remain unmet, and true representation is lacking. This brings us to tokenism, a practice where companies superficially showcase diversity as a marketing tactic without genuinely valuing or including marginalized individuals. But isn't it enough that Youthforia at least tried to include products for darker-skinned individuals? The answer is no. From the outside, these choices may seem positive, but a quick tick in the box of diversity isn't enough to solve the deeply rooted discrimination in these industries. Let's dive a little deeper. In 2008, L'Oreal featured the iconic Beyoncé in an advertisement, a move towards diversity, right? On the surface, it seems harmless. Yet, with closer inspection, we see a deeper truth. Beyoncé's appearance is noticeably altered, her skin and hair lightened, her hair straightened. Did her natural features not meet the advertisement's standard of beauty? Even more troubling, the changes to her appearance stand as a glaring example of tokenism, where companies feature women of color to project an image of diversity while maintaining exclusionary practices. The troubling part of this situation is that it's hard for people to recognize its oppressive nature. Why? Because even though the model is misrepresented, a token model allows a business owner to avoid the accusation of racism and discrimination, as they seem to tick the box of inclusivity. But this is not representation. Neither does it help the young girls of color who look in the mirror and feel less beautiful because companies fail to value their presence. Similarly, in January 2018, L'Oreal Paris launches Elvive World Care campaign, featuring a hijab-wearing woman in a hair campaign, a seemingly groundbreaking move. But the campaign still lacked ambassadors with darker skin and natural hair textures. This selective representation underscores the recurring theme. Grand gestures of inclusivity are insufficient if they're not supported by meaningful change. As socially aware consumers, we demand tangible change that reflects a genuine commitment to equality. We demand more than superficial gestures. So, how do we rewrite this narrative? Change starts by realizing that brands must use more than one token model to represent their campaign. Instead, we must realize that we human beings are made of a complexity of overlapping layers as to how we identify. These interconnected layers are termed intersectionality, as coined by Kimberly Williams Crenshaw. We're made of intersecting and related systems of discrimination. Take myself for an example. I'm a woman, but I'm also a South Asian woman, which means that I face intersecting forms of oppression through racism and misogyny. But part of my identity also includes my age, my hobbies, mental health, and personality. I am more than just my race. You can even think about intersectionality as a layer of makeup. Applying blush or contour on my face is as important to my makeup look in the same way that my identity as a woman is as important to my identity as being a person of color. So when brands use token gestures, they reduce us to being valued solely for our image, which reinforces capitalistic and oppressive ideals. Sure, as a consumer, I see women of various backgrounds, or those who may look like me, represent a brand. But how many of these women are truly valued? Even though I may not have the darkest skin tone, I know that women of my race and others come in a range of beautiful shades, and so I advocate for their inclusion. I want to see more women who represent a brand chosen for their skills and natural beauty, not just to meet a superficial diversity quota or fit Eurocentric beauty standards. I want more young girls who grow up with darker skin, with ethnic features, to be able to see themselves through more than a token model. It's time we stopped asking why Fenty Beauty is one of so few businesses to consider genuine inclusivity, and to start to question why companies are failing to make legitimate changes in their business practices around the issue of diversity. To realize long-lasting change, brands need to continually educate themselves on the experiences of people of color and the marginalized. This process starts by their listening to communities and broadening representation. What's more, we need companies to invest time in the lab to create the correct undertones of browns so that foundation shades accurately represent the target audience. Change is absolutely possible. For example, in the case of Black History Month 2024, e.l.f. Cosmetics teamed up with Black beauty creators to shed light on the fact that there are countless ways to express Black beauty. But we can't forget that the youth have a special role in broadening the representation of marginalized individuals in the beauty industry. In today's digital age, sharing messages through social media is incredibly easy. I recognize this issue of women of color struggling to feel as though they are worthy of compassion in certain environments. And so, as a 15-year-old, I created a social media platform called Let's Talk Women of Color to highlight the fact that all women are worthy of compassion by sharing information on current events and education on systemic issues. Each of us has a story to tell and a voice to tell it. So why don't we use it to uplift those women who can benefit from our support? As Rihanna once said, there needs to be something for a dark-skinned girl. There needs to be something for a really pale girl. There needs to be something in between. Fenty Beauty pushed the makeup industry in the right direction. At the same time, it created a new challenge, a challenge that will take a collective effort to combat. Still, I look forward to the day where we can be proud to know that the inclusivity associated with a brand we bought from is genuine. Together, we can use the power of our voices to work towards a future where brands value our identity as multifaceted and worthy. Thank you.